Hi, welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. In this week's episode, we're working back on the 40 Plymouth. Last week, we worked on the back half of the Plymouth, got the back half of the frame painted and the suspension components all done. This week, now we're going to work on the front half. There's a few things I have to do to tweak this. One of them is that when I made the transmission support here, I welded it in place. I've since changed my mind. I want to be able to modify that so that it will actually drop out. Probably not going to be that big of a deal to fix that, but that's one thing on the plate. The other thing is I noticed that on the brake pedal here, did a great job on clearance, but it looks as though I just need to cut a little piece away here and weld it up. So that's another little thing we've got to work on. But I'm going to take the front end apart. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be a full disassembly. We're definitely going to take the steering mechanism off, the rotors, the brakes and whatnot, take a look and see if we can paint most of the stuff in place and get it clean enough. May fully disassemble it and paint everything, but trying to keep time down on this and be practical about it. So front half, we're going to see the same thing as the back half. I'll wire wheel all of it's just actually surface rust. It's really not deep. Most of it comes off quite easily. So we'll clean that off, put a coat of POR 15 on, and then a couple coats of black Rust-Oleum. So I guess I'll start with disassembling the front end and lifting it up and fixing those two things. And then hopefully in this episode, we will get the whole front end painted. The other thing is the S10 transmission has been fully disassembled. So we've got the gearboxes here. I've got to wire wheel or sandblast the outside of these and then go get them hot tanked before I take it back to the transmission guy to get it fully rebuilt. Apparently it's a very good donor. We're going to replace all of the bearings and all of the seals and the synchros and everything onto it. And then hopefully we will then have a transmission that will have a shifter on this thing that won't come up through the center of the seat. So follow along as we keep on working on the 40 Plymouth. Well, things were getting a little dingy in here, and I decided to move all of the stuff up to the front of the garage here and tackle something I've been putting off for quite a while. Decided to put some more gyprock on the ceiling, basically to increase the light in the room. We went out and got 8 sheets. It hasn't completely done the ceiling here, but right now kind of made a really big difference, much more reflective instead of like the I guess the dusty appearance on the plastic. So got the 8 sheets up. I'm probably going to work on the front half of the garage later on, but for now that took a little bit of a while to put them up. I think next time I'm going to get one of those drywall lifting racks and try, instead of trying to balance it on my head and put it up there like a anyway, like I used to do when I was younger. A little harder to do now. So the other thing I was doing, moved a bunch of stuff around in the shop, tried to reorganize things. The 32 frame there is in the back. We're going to be pulling that out later on this year when we build the 32 Roadster. But for now, at least it's there out of the way and not falling over because it was laying up against this wall. We moved some of the sheet metal pieces up on the shelf and some of the wooden bucks up there from doing the 5-window coupe. They were just piled up here collecting dust and kind of just gave us a good chance to pull a bunch of stuff out, vacuum the floor, blow some dust off, and just make it feel as though we're trying to reorganize and get things going again. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the Roadster back and start putting some of this stuff back into place. And then we're going to get back onto, like I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to be stripping the front end off of the 40 Plymouth and doing the POR 15 and paint. So follow along, just got sidetracked here a little bit, trying to organize and clean things up a little bit. So my LED lights came in today from Amazon. We've got them up on the ceiling. As I said, part of the ceiling we haven't put gyprock on, but we got the back half done. Got a couple strips up, got it plugged in. Looks a whole lot more lighting in here, so it's much easier to work. I've started working on the 40 Plymouth right now, so one of the things I said I had to do was actually cut another clearance for the brake pedal. So right down here, when I originally did it, I didn't make enough clearance. So now I've got a little notch put in the frame there. I've cut this tiny little piece out, so I'm going to weld in another little piece here just to tidy it up. The other thing I've done, I've cut out the transmission cross member. What I'm going to do is put a flange on, well, I've actually put another flange on either side of it, and then we're going to adapt it so that it's bolted in. So right now over here on the table, I've got a flange rough welded on both sides. So what I'm going to do in the next few minutes, I'll put that over on that cross member. We're going to drill some holes, probably put 2 or 3 holes on either side, probably 3/8 bolts, and then weld some nuts on top of it. So I'll show you that in the next few minutes. One complication with these LED lights, I used to have a radio over here on that shelf next to the compressor. And for whatever reason, these LED lights are giving off some radio frequency interference or something. So had to take that radio and put it over to the other garage. And then in order to, I guess, to have some tunes while I'm working over here, I brought the other little radio over here. This one here, it works much better. So for some reason or other, the LED strip lights on this side don't give off the same radio frequency interference as the ones over on the other side. So who knew? Anyways, we're going to carry on here and get the radio going and fix that cross member. So a little more project on the 40 Plymouth chassis. I've got everything disassembled that we're going to take off. I made the repair to this area here for the brakes. I've clearanced it and ground it away. I've also made that center transmission mount so it's removable. I put 3/8 bolts on either side, so now you basically unbolt it, welded the nuts from the other side, so you only have to use one wrench from the other side. So that transmission mount's now removable. I've gone over the frame right now twice with a wire wheel, a wire brush, and some steel wool, trying to knock off anything loose. At the moment, I blew it all off, and I've got a, hopefully you can hear me, you got the fan going through there trying to suck the dust out of the room. Had a mask on while I was doing it, but Still, there's a lot of dust to settle here. So probably we'll go over it one more time and then wipe it all down with some lacquer thinner or something to make sure that there's no grease left onto it. But that's where we are right now. Once that's, sorry, I'll try and get my camera angle here a little better. Once that's all cleaned and I'm happy with it, I will go and I'll put POR 15 on the sections that are rusted and probably even on the new metal. And then once that's dried, I'll put a couple coats of Rust-Oleum chassis paint on top of it. So follow along. Oh, the other thing too, the S10 transmission that you saw me wire wheeling there earlier, we sent it out to get hot tanked. The parts have been ordered. It needs one new gear, needs bearings, and it needs all the synchros and the bearings. So those have been ordered. Won't be able to show you that on this episode, but it's well in progress. So anyway, hopefully we can at least get this black before this episode is over, and we'll show you more progress. Here we are. We got the camera lady back, so we won't be doing any fast-moving camera video stuff. So sorry about that. So where we're at right now is I've basically have from the center of the frame up into where the front cross member is, it's all covered in POR 15. It's dry right now. And then from here forward, I've got one coat of the Rust-Oleum black onto it. I still have to go over the whole thing and top coat the POR 15, but it turned out quite well. It's looking good. Didn't get too much overspray, lots of drops on the floor. This is as far as I can really go this week because we run out of time. I kind of squirreled off and did the drywall and put the lights up, so that took about 2 days, and then I decided to basically clean and move and organize some stuff and get stuff out of the way a little bit, so that took up a lot of time. Also, that bay over there right now is empty, and there's another project coming in. Should be arriving later on this afternoon, but you'll have to tune in next week to see what that is. I am actually not 100% sure because the customer has 3 different years of projects that he's bringing my way, and I'm not sure what he loaded. So it's going to be a little bit of a surprise to me this afternoon when it shows up. A couple things when we were doing this chassis, I had a couple curveballs, which slowed me down in addition to squirreling off and doing the drywall. One of them was on the back of the rotor. I'd forgotten that one of these seals was damaged when I got it, so I got to source out one of these seals. It's probably only $5, and more than likely if I order it from the US, it's going to be probably 20 or 30. So going to head off to CarQuest this afternoon and see if I can't get one of those for a reasonable price. I know that there's going to be like a national or a federal seal number that goes with it, and once I figure it out, I'm going to write it down. So the other thing on the back end, the flex lines came in the right size. They are 10 millimeter, but they didn't come with bolts. So yesterday afternoon I had to go on a mission to find some 10 millimeter banjo bolts, which you wouldn't think would be that difficult to do, but I went 3 places before I finally found them. So we're ready to get that going on that. The other thing on the back here, I was only able to get one emergency brake cable, but I figured out because there's a left and a right with the 8.8 rear ends in these years, they've got one disc caliper on the back and one in the front. So I figured out that I actually can use the same emergency brake cable on the other side because there's only one side available. So what we'll do is I'm going to attach that up on the frame with some clips, and then I'll make a common place for these to attach in the center. But I'll order another one of those up and get that ready for to install the e-brake cables. The other thing on the gas tank, the conclusion is that we're going to paint it. So it's a galvanized tank. We'll clean the galvanized tank up. I'll go get some galvanized primer, and we're going to paint it black. Where the heck is it? And I think somewhere's here in this mess, I was able to buy some, I think thick, I can't find it right now, but I know it's here, some urethane insulator rubber that will actually go around the strap, between the straps and the gas tank. So that problem is solved. So next week, we're going to carry on with this. Hopefully I will have the extra coat of paint onto it. We'll start putting the assembly back. We'll get the seal, start running some brake lines and putting everything back together again. And with any luck, I'll have the S10 transmission cases back from the hot tank, and I'll drop them off with the transmission guy and hopefully have the transmission going so that we can put everything back into here. So that's it. Sorry, hopefully I haven't lost anybody this week with not a tremendous amount of progress, but one of the things when you're running a small shop, sometimes you just got to stop for a few minutes and make things easier for yourself, either reorganizing or relighting or whatever. You got to invest some time back into that. Not the least of which is I've got to sort out all these parts on this table and make some room. So it's kind of a bit of an explosion here. So anyways, that's it for this week. Please like, share, tag, and subscribe. Send me your comments, and I hope to see you next week and see what we're up to. Everybody take care. Have a great week.